Good morning, my wild and beautiful friends. I'm so glad you're here. I'm brewing up an extra strong batch of coffee. Gonna drink a little, of course, and then get started on making a veganized version of my absolute favorite dessert of all time, tiramisu. Keep on watching to see how we make it. Alrighty, friends, we're gonna put that extra strong coffee to very good use. I'm going to pour 2 cups of it in a bowl here, and I'm going to dissolve 3 tablespoons of sugar. And this will be our coffee syrup mixture that we're going to dunk our little cookies in to be the base of our dessert. If you aren't too familiar with tiramisu, it's essentially kind of like a trifle that either uses coffee or chocolate or liqueur to make layers of soaked cake and cream. This version is obviously using coffee. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to get started on our cream filling. I've got a can of coconut cream here, and I'm going to get this in our little bowl and just whip it on up until it's nice and light and fluffy. I love that you can buy cans of just coconut cream now. It makes making coconut whipped cream so much easier. You don't have to put your can in the fridge and wait for it to separate and all that jazz. You just throw it in your bowl, whip it on up, just takes a couple minutes, and you've got some light and fluffy coconut whipped cream. So we're eventually going to mix this with some vegan cream cheese, but I'm pouring this off to the side for now so we can make sure we don't have any lumps and everything gets really well and incorporated. Don't worry about cleaning your bowl. I'm just getting out the majority here. The less dishes, the better, if you ask me. I'm good enough at making a mess on my own. Don't need extra bowls. So I've got a container of vegan cream cheese here. I'm using Go Veggie. It's what was on sale. You do you, though. If you've got a favorite brand, by all means use it. What I'm essentially trying to do is mimic the flavor of mascarpone cheese. So it's kind of a more light and airy and whipped creamy kind of texture while still having that little tang of cream cheese in there. So this has been sitting out at room temperature for a couple hours, so it'll whip up really nicely for us. I'm going to do the same thing with our hand mixer for a couple minutes, get it nice and creamy. We'll add a few ingredients before we incorporate it into our coconut whipped cream. Okay, and then we're going to add a tablespoon of vanilla to our cream cheese mixture here. I was at the store today and I almost bought more vanilla because I totally forgot that I had this amazing Mexican vanilla in our cupboard, thanks to Steve's parents. So good. Best gift ever. You should really give it a try if you haven't tried Mexican vanilla. Anywho, we're going to mix this in, and then I am going to add a little bit more sweetness by adding 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So of course this is going to add some sweetness, but it's also going to thin out our cream cheese just a little bit as well, so it'll blend into that coconut cream mixture even better and more homogeneously. So once we've got it whipped up, we're going to stir in our coconut mixture. I'm just going to use a spatula to stir and kind of fold it in. Don't worry too much about deflating anything. It's not really super whipped up like a heavy whipping cream would be. Plus, most of this liquid's really going to get soaked up by the cookies that we use to build our cake section of this dessert. So then I'm just going to sift in a half a cup of powdered sugar. I like to make sure it's organic to make sure that it's for sure vegan. I'm just stirring that in. You can see that our cream is definitely on the loose side. That's totally okay. It's not going to be super whipped looking. This is going to help kind of stabilize everything and give us just another little layer of sweetness. And then I'm going to go back in and use our hand mixer and get it nice and whipped up again, just for about 20 seconds. Look how creamy that is. It smells so good. It tastes so good. So now on to assembly. Typically, a tiramisu uses ladyfingers as the cake base. You can definitely find very easy ladyfinger recipes online. I'll link some below. They're quite good. They are quite full of fat and sugar and white flour, which is totally fine and delicious. But I'm going to shake things up a little bit with our tiramisu today. I have got these digestive cookies. You can find them online. You can even find them in some specialty markets nowadays. I originally discovered them in Scotland with my best friend Kara when we went to go visit her grandma in high school. We ate these things all day with tea. They're so good. They're not super sweet. They have a ton of fiber, and they're made with wheat flour. So I feel like that'll kind of even out some of the sugar we're using for the rest of our recipe. Still not a total health food, but definitely an upgrade in the health department. So I'm taking our cookies and I'm just dunking them really quickly in our coffee mixture here. I'm just placing our cookies down in one even layer. I'm going to try to get the hand as coated as I can with cookie. We're going to do multiple layers, so don't worry if there's spaces. We're going to kind of fill them in as we go on each layer, and as everything gets soaked up, it'll become one cohesive cake anyways. You can definitely, and I would suggest definitely taking some of the cookies and breaking them apart in some of the larger spaces so you can fill it in like so. And then we're gonna just take about 1/4 of our cream mixture and pour it over the top. And then we will keep going, doing layer after layer, just like you would on a trifle, until all of our cookies are used up and the cream ends up being on top, if that makes sense. I'll show you. We're gonna do some fast motion though, so you don't have to sit and watch me layer things for a really long time. Cue fast motion. Alrighty, last layer of cookies, we're gonna add our cream mixture and we will be looking good. Where our cookies are kind of odd shape for our container here, I definitely tried each layer to stagger them in a different kind of configuration so everything kind of ends up even at the end. Really though, however you do it will be just fine. Everything's gonna get soaked up and delicious anyway. So whatever works for you, totally just go with it. And then the very last thing we're gonna do is dust some cocoa powder on top. That's our quintessential tiramisu look here. Plus it makes it taste amazing and look beautiful as well. I'm gonna pop this beauty in the fridge for at least 3 hours. If you can stand it, do overnight. The longer you let it sit, the more it's gonna soak up all that beautiful cream and get nice and tender and cake-like underneath. So it's been overnight. I somehow made it. I'm gonna cut off a piece here and show you how gorgeous this beautiful tiramisu is. It has probably been at least a decade since I've had tiramisu, and I'm not joking you, this is definitely comparable to the flavors I remember. Steve loved it too. He's a good gauge on if I'm doing things well. I really hope you give this a try. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers.